Good morning, folks. Welcome. This is Rolando Aeda with the Greater Miami Convention and Visitors Bureau. Thank you for joining our annual Hotel Hurricane Preparedness Workshop. We do this in partnership with our dear partners at the Hotel Association, City of Miami Beach, Miami-Dade County, and this year we have a special guest from the FIFA World Cup Host Committee. So just a couple of housekeeping things. This is being recorded. You should have accepted that option thus far. The whole session will be available. We'll send that out to all the participants. It'll be up on our website. And I'm sure there's going to be some great questions. Please put those in the chat. The team will be monitoring those. And then we have some time at the tail end of the presentations for us to be able to respond to any questions that have not yet been answered during the program. So with that, I wanted to thank you again for joining us, and I'm going to turn it over to our President and CEO, David Whitaker.
Good morning, everybody. We're watching people log on. There may still be a few more that log on. It's just a few minutes after 10, but we're going to go ahead and kick things off. So those who are on the call, welcome and thank you. It's that time of year again. For those of us who've called South Florida, Miami, Miami-Dade County, Miami Beach, have called this home, we know this is paradise. But with paradise comes tropical weather. And this is the time of year where we begin. June 1st kicks off hurricane season. And we're going to talk a little bit today about things you should be considering, some of the planning that's in place. We have experts on the call led by Ryan Phillips, our superstar meteorologist. I can't even say meteorologist, Ryan, I apologize. Meteorologist, and he's going to give us some great information. I want to thank him especially for his time. We also have some of our experts from the city of Miami Beach and the county. What I would just encourage is a couple of things. For many of you, this may be your first summer in Miami. And if it is, you just need to know that we take this very seriously. It's all about preparation. It's all about planning. We've been very lucky these last many years. But as we all know, it only takes one major event to be a huge disruptor. And not only a disruptor for us, but a disruptor for our hotel guests and a disruptor for your hotel employees. And so that's really what we want to focus on today. I will tell you that, again, if you have a new general manager and he or she is not on this call, the minute this call is over, I encourage you, or as soon as you can, I would encourage you to go back to your management team and ask them, do we have a plan? And does everybody know the plan? And then maybe even rehearse and discuss the plan, both a plan for your guests, a plan for your employees that are on property or are needing to come to the property or evacuate the property, and a plan for your facility. So that's what this discussion is all about. So before we get into some real meat and bones, I wanted to take a moment. We have our two leaders from the key impact areas. Of course, all of Miami-Dade County. The Miami-Dade County Emergency Response Team is amazing in the work that you'll be hearing about. So we have a brief video and a message from our Mayor, Levine Cava.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for the invitation to join you virtually as another hurricane season begins. I want to thank our partners at the Greater Miami Convention and Visitors Bureau, the Greater Miami and the Beaches Hotel Association, and of course, our colleagues from the City of Miami Beach. I'm especially grateful to our hospitality leaders who play a key role in our hurricane readiness strategy. When a storm arrives, you care for your guests while also protecting the lifeblood of our local economy. Here in Miami-Dade, we know how unpredictable and dangerous hurricanes can be, but we also know that preparation can save lives and property, ensuring we bounce back faster. That's why we're here today, to remind everyone that there are simple, effective ways to keep your teams, guests, and facilities safe. The first day of hurricane season is just a few days away. If you haven't started preparing yet, now is the time. First, stay informed. Accurate information saves lives before, during, and after a storm. You can sign up for alerts at miamidade.gov by typing alerts in the search bar and download our Ready Miami-Dade app, which is free and available in English, Spanish, and Haitian Creole. Lastly, be sure to follow our official county accounts on social media or call 311 for updates. Next, be storm ready. Our severe weather and emergency readiness guide is available online. at miamidade.gov/hurricane for free, and it's on the MDC Ready app. It includes checklists, tips on protecting property, and information like what supplies to have on hand, all the help that people and businesses need to get ready. So finally, make a plan. Find out if your business or home is in a flood or evacuation zone. If you need to evacuate guests, think, where will they go and how will we get them there? Our county's Department of Emergency Management has detailed tools to walk you through all of it. This and every hurricane season, we're proud to work hand in hand with our hospitality partners to build a stronger, more resilient system that protects residents and visitors alike. And our work doesn't stop at hurricanes. Let's remember that in Miami-Dade, we are also in extreme heat season and flood season. Our county works around the clock to prepare for all of these inclement weather events and to keep our community not just hurricane ready, but weather ready. Thank you for your partnership and your commitment to building a safer, more prepared Miami-Dade.
Thank you, Mayor, for that. Speaking of Miami Beach, and Rolando, I'm back on, right? I just want to make sure I'm back on. Okay. Speaking of Miami Beach, it's obviously the front door to paradise, but Miami Beach is also the front door when many menacing storms are roaring our way. And its coastal areas, of course, are some of our most vulnerable. A special message now from the mayor of Miami Beach, Mayor Stephen Miner.
Hello, Miami Beach. I'm your mayor, Stephen Miner, and I'm speaking to you today from the heart of our city's safety operations, Miami Beach's newly upgraded Emergency Operations Center. What you see behind me isn't just a collection of monitors and data. It is a 24-hour shield for our city. Through new federal grants from the Urban Area Security Initiative, we have transformed this space into one of the most advanced command hubs in the nation. This video wall allows our emergency management team to track weather patterns, current incidents, and public safety data in real time, with direct feeds from our police department and a seamless link to Miami-Dade County. This is all part of our city's commitment to preparedness and safety. We are ready. And as we approach June 1st, hurricane season, we need to ensure you are ready too. That's why this annual Hurricane Preparedness Seminar is so important. We know that preparedness is key and information is power, and it's critical that you stay informed so that you can keep our guests informed. In the hospitality industry, you are the front lines of our economy and the primary guardians of our visitors. Our goal today is to make sure that while we manage the technology and the infrastructure, you have the tools and information to manage your properties and protect your guests. I want to take a moment to recognize the excellent partnerships that make this possible. The City of Miami Beach is proud to work hand in hand with the Greater Miami Convention and Visitors Bureau, the Greater Miami and Beaches Hotel Association, and our partners at Miami-Dade County Emergency Management. Here in our city, our own Division of Emergency Management, alongside our fire department, police department, and many other dedicated professionals, work throughout the year to ensure we are prepared for any storm or emergency. Miami Beach continues to strengthen our role as a global hub for culture, entertainment, fitness, and hospitality. We've hosted countless world-class events, supported community programs, and made targeted investments in public safety, infrastructure, and emergency response capabilities. We know our hospitality industry is crushing it. We hit a record high $14.3 million in resort tax collections in March, the highest single month ever in Miami Beach history. We achieved a new 7-month year-to-date record for resort tax collections in Miami Beach. In the first quarter of this year, Miami Beach led the entire nation in hotel metrics. Our average daily rate, ADR, hit $424 a night. That is $150 higher than the next highest city in America. With an 85.5% occupancy rate, the world is voting with its feet, and they are choosing Miami Beach. This summer, we're preparing for one of the biggest sporting events in the world, the FIFA World Cup. This event will bring players, officials, and fans from around the globe to our city. Our local activations will be everywhere, from watch parties on the 10th Street Beach and the North Beach Band Shell to an immersive arena in Lummis Park. This activity overlaps with our America 250 celebrations, including our Patriotic Freedom exhibit and outdoor screenings on Ocean Drive. And as we all know, being the epicenter of the world comes with an increased responsibility. To our hotel and hospitality partners, your role is to be the calm in the storm, literally. If a weather event occurs during these high-profile celebrations, your guests will look to you first. Please utilize the resources provided today. Update your emergency plans, review your communication chains, and visit miamibeachfl.gov/World Cup to stay synced with our event logistics. My commitment to you is that the City of Miami Beach will provide the data, the technology, and the support you need to keep our visitors safe. Thank you again to our hospitality leaders and staff for your year-round dedication. You provide unforgettable experiences for our visitors, and you also take seriously the responsibility of preparedness. Your efforts help keep our city safe, strong, and ready. And to our partners at the county and our city departments, thank you for your outstanding work and continued collaboration. We are making sure that Miami Beach remains a model of leading with preparedness. God bless you all.
Sometimes I wish the mayor were a little bit more enthusiastic, right? But his passion really does translate into why this is so important this summer. We're going to have an awful lot of people in town who may not know anything about hurricane preparedness from the part of the world they come from. So it's even more important this summer with these events to be prepared and to be great communicators. Speaking of great partners and leaders, it's my pleasure now to call on the city manager of Miami Beach, Eric Carpenter. Eric, good morning.
Good morning, David. Thank you for having me here today. And first and foremost, I'd like to thank David, Rolando, and the GMCVB, as well as Curtis Kreider from the Hotel Association for your ongoing partnership and support. Miami Beach, as everyone has already mentioned, is a world-renowned destination. We welcome visitors from across the globe. And with that privilege comes a profound responsibility that we must be prepared for both the predictable challenges of hurricane season and the unexpected events that can arise at any moment. As a city, we work tirelessly to be collaborative, deeply engaged, and committed to ensuring that our business community, including our hotels, restaurants, and attractions, are fully equipped with tools, information, and resources necessary to keep residents, visitors, staff, and guests safe. Resilience isn't just a goal, it's an ongoing commitment to preparation and recovery. Discussions like this are an essential part of that ongoing effort. They complement the year-round work being done across our city to maintain a constant state of readiness. Preparedness isn't something we think about only during hurricane season. It's something we focus on every single day. To maintain our standing as a world-class city, we must remain in constant cycle of planning, testing, implementing, evaluating, and improving. Readiness is not a one-time activity. It's a continuous practice, and one that luckily we get to drill on constantly, whether it's world-class events like FIFA or the college football national championship game or major concerts that are taking place on the beachfront or huge events in our convention center like Art Basel, the boat show. We are constantly being challenged to be in a state of readiness, and the city responds. I'm grateful for the full support of the mayor and commission, which allows my administration to work year-round on strengthening our emergency response strategies. But I especially want to recognize the more than 2,300 city employees whose dedication and behind-the-scenes work keep our systems running, our communications clear, our stormwater flowing, and ultimately our city safe. Their collaboration and commitment are what make Miami Beach great. I want to thank you for being here today and recognizing the importance of this work. Your input, questions, and concerns, as well as partnership, are not only welcome, they're vital to us being able to respond to whatever Mother Nature may throw our way. Together, we'll continue to prepare, adapt, mitigate, and ultimately thrive, no matter what nature has in store. Thank you, David.
No, thank you, Eric. And thanks to the city for always being there to be prepared. It's so important. We've mentioned several times our partnership with hotels. There are many, many hotels on the call today, this morning. There's also restaurants and attractions and other partners, but it's our guest safety does start and end and begin with our hotel community and their preparations. So, Curtis, I'm going to call on you as the head of the Greater Miami Beach Hotel Association for some remarks and some thoughts. Good morning, Curtis.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you, David, for that kind introduction. We're extremely excited to be a part of this every year, and really we want to give special thanks to all of our partners here on the call and Miami Beach for all their cooperation and all the city officials that are on today's call. To our hotel partners, that are here today on the call, obviously, if you're new into the market, definitely preparedness is the key. This has been mentioned several times throughout the call. Getting your hurricane preparedness plan ready, checking your supplies, making sure that we're ready to go. As a past GM, I know that, mid-May, I was already running around asking my director of engineering, hey, where are the supplies? Let's go through this. Let's run through it, because storms come up quickly. And the last thing we want to do is wait to the last minute, because at that point, it's too late. Again, our hotels do play that vital role, as David, many of them mentioned. Protecting our guests is number one. And we want to make sure that our team members as well are at home and making sure they're preparing their homes, because obviously when they are prepared, they're able to focus and support us at the hotel. So please make sure your human resource departments are also relaying that message to your team members, making sure that all those emergency contact numbers are updated with the hotels, and sharing those numbers not only with myself, but with the GMCVB, with Miami Beach, and your municipality, to make sure there's a point of contact that we can get a hold of in case power goes down and cell phones goes down. We have a lot of great partners as well at the Hotel Association. Should there be a concern or something happen at your property that can assist you. So definitely, if you have time, please look at the JMBHA website, look at some of our partners that can assist you. I too also have written a few hurricane plans and have copies. So if you need that assistance, by all means, we're here to help in any way, shape, or form. And thank you very much again, everybody on the call today, for joining us. It's now my pleasure to introduce our trusted partner, Ryan Phillips. Ryan's been drawn to Miami for his deep interest in tropical cyclones. Phil is entering his 21st year now in South Florida television market, working for NBC-owned station WTVJ. Phillips is a graduate of Ohio University, go Buckeyes, where he was recognized as an outstanding alumni in 2019, and now serves as the president of the board for the Isaac Foundation for the Natural Sciences based in Athens, Ohio. He has served as part-time instructor in graduate and undergraduate studies for the Rosenthal School of Marine and Earth Sciences at University of Miami for the past 11 years. This hurricane season marks his 26th year in broadcast meteorology. He and his wife Xenia are parents to two girls who keep them busy as competitive dancers. So take it away, Ryan. Thank you very much.
All right, guys, good stuff. Thank you, and go Bobcats, go Bobcats, Ohio University.
Sorry,
Curtis, thank you.
I'll brush up on that.
Getting ready is what it's all about. And, as Rolando had mentioned, and David too, if this is your first hurricane season, this can be eye-opening. And even for folks who have been in the industry and have been residents here for many years, it's been a while, and it's been quite a while. We got to go back to 2005 since we last had a hurricane make landfall in South Florida. And that was, of course, Katrina up in Hallandale Beach. And that was just a Cat 1. And it was so impactful to South Florida between surge, between wind, and between flooding rain well across the interior of Miami-Dade County. So we have to remind ourselves that these storms are way more than just a wind threat. There's a multitude of threats that will come with each and every storm. and we have to prepare for that. But when's the last time we prepared as a community? We have to go back to Irma in 2017. And at that point, and this has been a talking point now for several years, we in South Florida, in Miami, Miami Beach, we prepared for a hurricane. And what we got was a prolonged period of tropical storm force winds. And so the problem with that is that over the years, residents and folks who live here or visit here think, well, I prepared for a hurricane. It was okay. The hurricane conditions were in the Keys. We had tropical storm conditions in South Florida, and there's a world of difference. And so it's been a while since we've had to run the paces here to get ready for a storm. But that doesn't mean that there's not traffic. If we go back to the last 20 years, we've had 41 named storms pass within 200 miles of Miami. Somehow we just keep missing. We're missed, and we're happy about that. But I bring this up because even if there's not a direct threat to Miami Beach, to Miami, to all of the area that we service together as a community, there's still a necessity to be stoic and exact in your communication to guests, because there could be a storm nearby, and that could cause some awareness or some alarm with our residents and with our guests. But our ability to communicate accurately that there is not a threat to what we will experience in South Florida, that's important as well. So we're a high traffic area. We have thankfully not had to endure hurricane conditions for quite some time. But even when there's a threat nearby that doesn't directly impact us, we have to be able to communicate that. So what happens for the upcoming season? Well, the big picture right now will lie solely on, and you'll hear more about this as the summer goes on, is what's going on with El Nino. And El Nino will begin to develop. And if you're hurricane savvy, as a long-term resident here, El Nino is generally a good thing. Right now, we're in a neutral pattern. We are going to trend towards El Nino late summer and into the peak of hurricane season. So overall, that's a good trend. And the connection is thousands of miles away from South Florida. We have to see what's going on over in the Pacific, and the warming and the rapidly warming waters there will help to excite an Eastern Pacific hurricane season off the coast of Mexico, the Baja of California, and points westward. For us, the benefit in the Atlantic and the Caribbean is an increase in wind shear. And so that helps to basically chop the tops off these storms, and it makes for a very hostile environment. So it's very difficult to generate tropical systems, to develop hurricanes, to develop major hurricanes in a scenario like this. So I'm taking you through with a little bit of inside baseball here, and all I want you to do to take away from this graphic is you're seeing a lot of red, and that's a good thing. When we reach the peak of the season into August, September, October, there's a very high likelihood that El Nino conditions will be established, and so that's having certainly weighing in to what our projections look like for the upcoming season. In fact, just last week, NOAA announced their forecast, and they've got it ballparked at about a 55% chance that we'll see a below average season. So they're calling for about 8 to 14 named storms, 3 to 6 hurricanes, and maybe just 1 to 3 major hurricanes. And again, those numbers are fairly low. Colorado State, they'll update this forecast in another week or two, but initially their call is for about 13 named storms, 6 hurricanes, and 2 major hurricanes. And again, the seasonal averages are around 14, 7, and 3. So the trend is below average, and that on paper looks great. But the cautionary tale here is that these forecasts just talk about the total activity across the Gulf, the Caribbean, and the Atlantic. They give us no guidance in terms of where any of these storms may go. And so the overall activity may be below average, but we can't precisely say where they're going to end up. And so then in any storm that evolves over the course of the season, we can usually get a jump on social media with sometimes all the bad players. So being selective in where you get your weather and information, and certainly the EOC is a great place to start. Of course, we're so lucky the National Hurricane Center is in our backyard, and they have, of course, our best interests in mind, in addition to the National Weather Service office, which is partnered in the same building. But what happens is, as we get deeper into the hurricane season, and it's a season when there are not as many storms around, any graphic, any bit of information can be misconstrued. And that's why it's just so important that you have your reliable sources set. As we'll talk about today with our double Sherry presentation, is that you need to be ready, and getting yourself ready now will help in your individual hotels and your employees. All that build up now will pay off later in the event we have to prepare for a system. And being self-sufficient, and this is both at a personal level and at a property level, is being able to sustain your operation or your people until you can get help, until power returns, or until it's safe to leave. And again, we'll hear more about those topics. But the strength of your personal and professional network post storm, and that could be just a tropical storm. A tropical storm can still bring major impacts to South Florida. So it doesn't always have to be a hurricane, and God forbid, a major hurricane. But the strength and the networking that we do now and today leading up to an event really helps how we can respond to any storm that may come close or may bring an impact to South Florida. So that's part of what we want to really message today. So even if it's a below average season, on the call for what things are going to look like, the old adage, and after 25 years of doing this, it just it wears out to say it only takes one, but it truly only takes one. It can be a below average season. We have one storm in South Florida, and that's a devastating year for our tourism, for our economy, and for our residents. So again, feel free to reach out if you have any questions or need any collaboration. Happy to support you. So with that, Rolando, thank you. Appreciate being a guest this morning.
Ryan, thank you so much. And by the way, I can't overemphasize, don't get your prognostications from pandas. I guess, is that one of the takeaways from
That's always a good place to start.
Yes,
Away from
yes,
the zoo.
definitely, definitely. Well, Ryan, thanks to you've been collaborating with us for several years, and we've had the pleasure of having you in our office as well. So thanks again for that partnership. You mentioned, speaking of partners, we've got a Sherry and a Sherry that will be joining us from the respective emergency operations management divisions of our city and county partners. But let me start off with Miami Beach. Sherry Lipner, she is with the City of Miami Beach Emergency Management Division, and frankly has been the driving force of this workshop for several years. So, Sherry, thank you again for leading the charge on behalf of the group. But please take it away, and you can share your screen now.
I didn't hit audio. Good morning. We'll start this again. So sorry. It's certainly. There we go. Good morning. Thanks to all of you for joining us, and thank you, Rolando. And we really appreciate that your commitment to the safety and security of your property is paramount to you, and that's why you're joining us today. I'm the Division Administrator and Deputy Emergency Management for the City of Miami Beach Fire Rescue Department Division of Emergency Management. And my presentation today is focused on Miami Beach hotel properties, but there's information in here that applies to most hotels, so I appreciate everyone's attention this morning. One of the things that you deal directly with us in the City of Miami Beach Division of Emergency Management is evacuation. You each provide unique and comprehensive experiences to your guests year-round. You rarely interact with us, which is lucky, and we typically enjoy great weather most of the time. So when you need to pay attention to us is when the situation is such that there's a need for evacuation, because we are a barrier island. Some people like to ride it out, not advisable in the city of Miami Beach. Evacuation is when an evacuation order is decided upon, it's mandatory. Now, no one's going to come and grab everybody out of the hotels and pull everybody away and make people leave their houses, but it is strongly suggested to take an evacuation seriously. It's not considered lightly. The decision is made at the county level. And I'm sure Sherry Capers will speak about this a little more. No one's going to force you out, like I said. The decision to evacuate is wise if you know that the response to medical emergencies especially may not be as rapid or as available. Once the winds hit 39 miles per hour, it's very difficult for our equipment, our apparatus, to get to you. After a storm, if there are downed power lines, downed trees, some of the roads may be impassable, as even though a skeleton crew of emergency employees do remain on the island, they can't necessarily provide the same level of service that they can during blue skies. So all of Miami Beach is a storm surge planning zone. Most of it's in Zone B. The rest of it is down here.
So Sherry, let me jump in to make sure, because your screen is not being shared yet.
Oh.
So, and that's okay. We can, if you want to take another crack at sharing that. If not, we can potentially share from our end.
I've selected the right screen.
Okay. And then you have to hit. Okay, here we go. Here we go. And now there you go. And now go full screen.
There you go. Okay.
There you go. Thank you, Sherry.
First day with the new thumbs. This is what the storm surge planning zones look like. And I'm sure Sherry Capers will go into this more. If you look at, this is Miami Beach right here, where this beautiful color of gold, and then everything south of 5th Street down into the island of Key Biscayne is Zone A. Typically, when an evacuation order is issued, it's Zone A and Zone B. Listen to the directions that are given to you by the county. If they're evacuating, there's an expectation that non-residents are going to be assisted first in leaving the island. That has been the case at least since Hurricane Andrew in the 90s, that at the EOC in Miami-Dade County, there is a seat for the Greater Miami Convention and Visitors Bureau, and there's a lot of coordination with the hotels to make sure that your guests are evacuated safely. You have the option of sending guests to sister properties if rooms are available out of the area. We suggest sending everyone back home, but if they are going home, please advise everyone the airport is not a shelter. And they're getting stricter and stricter about that, and they will kick people out if they're not there to board a plane and leave. You only deal with us when there's an evacuation, is what I said before, but that's not entirely true. Let's move on. I just want to let you know what your responsibilities are and how we can help you with that. You first have a responsibility to understand the risk that could affect your property, how to mitigate those risks. You have to have an emergency plan in place. As Curtis had said, make sure that all personnel in your organization are aware of what your plan is. They don't need to know the whole thing, but they all do need to know what their responsibilities are, and give them each a chance to handle their own situations at home and protect their own properties and families, so that they are prepared to assist you in getting your property ready and shored for the storm. There should be a small group of individuals that you identify as your ERT, an emergency response team. These are the folks who are extremely familiar with your emergency plans. They can spring into action and they can direct the rest of the staff. So just to go into a little bit more detail, I broke it down into digestible bites. If you've not already done so, you should have conducted a risk assessment of your property. This is where you identify vulnerable areas that could be susceptible to impacts from wind, rain, flooding. And do you have a plan to protect very specific areas of your property? Your risk assessment involves also understanding your financial impacts, details like your insurance coverage. Somebody in your organization should understand that. And this could be its own seminar. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but understanding risk is an important part of your protection. Plans are great. And we did say that you do need to have a plan, but most plans, because I write a lot of plans, I'm telling you that a lot of times plans get written and then they sit on a shelf and collect dust. We in emergency management are committed to that not happening. We have a saying: you write a plan, you share the plan, you get feedback on the plan, you test the plan, and then you find what's not correct in the plan and you update the plan. So exercises and even tabletop exercises and discussions among staff of what will and will not work are very, very important for the constant cycle of improvement for all of your emergency planning. I mentioned various stage of disasters in this slide. It mostly outlines the process of obtaining financial assistance should it be available from the federal government. Now, our office doesn't directly deal with that part of recovery for you, but we in our office can help point you in the right direction for any of that. There's some changes happening in FEMA. A lot more responsibility is being placed on the state to assist. So processes may change, and everybody appreciates your patience. As I stated earlier, get your staff on board. Keep your staff informed. We truly believe in drills and exercises, like I said. Teach the plan, test the plan, identify problems with the plan, update the plan, and then keep doing it over and over again every year. Now onto your ERT, and this is where we can really, really help you. There's a reason that we suggest 5 to 8 members. You can have more. You should, though, identify up to 8 members only. Then that would be your core team that would work with the city. Should we have an evacuation, in the case of the worst case scenario, and egress into the city is difficult, we have in our reentry plan a tiered system, and we will allow people back into the city. We appreciate your help, your staff's assistance in doing damage assessment at your property and reporting some of that back to us, because it does help us. We report to the county on all sorts of damages. So they would do I'm sorry, I'm getting information on my screen. Before the general public is allowed back, we do have a system of letting some of your people back. So the ERT is the A team for when things go sideways. And we, in emergency management at the City of Miami Beach, we can help train a team for free. We offer ERT training. It's part of our CERT training. We developed one specifically for hotels. The teams that come to us are taught basic emergency and disaster response skills. As I said, it's completely free. It just takes an investment of your time. I know the word 24-hour course sends shivers down your spine. We can break it up into smaller modules. We will work with your team. Please call the number that's on the screen if you're interested in inquiring further. That's 305-673-7736. If you mention ERT, we will get you set up with your team. These are just some of the skills here that the team will learn. It's part of CERT training. It's a foundation of skill sets participants can take with them anywhere. We especially feel that hotel staff training is important because the ERTs are the trained individuals. They become part of the overall web of recovery for the city. Your team will keep in touch with us. They provide important information so we can track the status as we return to normal. We maintain, to the best of our ability, a database with hotel information. This is not the same database that our finance department keeps with BRTs and stuff like that, or I'm sorry, BTRs and stuff like that. You should have, most of you on this call should have received an email yesterday that was sent from DEM, the Division of Emergency Management in the City of Miami Beach, and the staff here that's coordinating that database. In the email, you're directed to update the information that you have on file with us, or if you're a new property or under new management, to submit that new information. The email directs you to our website where there's a form specifically for hotels. This is more or less what that looks like. It can be found in the re-entry section of our emergency preparedness pages. Our website is www.miamibeachfl.gov. It's here that you can also sign up for the ERT training. Right down here, that's how you sign up for your training. If you did not receive the email, please call the same number I just gave you, 673-7736, area code 305-673-7736. For that, or for any of the ERT information, specifically ask for Irene. Irene is our specialist that can help you with all of that. This is a very distorted visual of what the form looks like, but there's room. I just wanted to give you an idea of what you're filling out. There's room to submit info on your management company if that's applicable. And there's spaces down here, very limited spaces, to enter the members that you select as your ERT. These are the people who will be allowed back onto the island. And we hope that these are people who are like your engineers, and top management staff that can do a good damage assessment of the property, that they know how to turn on the lights, turn on and off the power, connect all the other utilities like water, and know how to report the damages. This is important, and it's spelled out on the website as well. All residents and all business employees, please, in order to come back into the city, if we have an evacuation and we haven't reopened the city, and we're only allowing certain people in, it is very important that you have as much documentation as you possibly can to prove who you are and where you work. We recommend that staff that are allowed back in from the hotels have not just their identification and even possibly a pay stub to prove that they work for the property, but something on your official stationery that says, this is John Smith. John Smith's driver's license number is blah, 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 blah. John is our chief engineer, and we need him to come in to do damage assessment. All of this helps the police officers who will be at the entry points determine whether or not to let people in. So DEM, oh, and I need to say, our police officers always reserve the right to refuse anyone entry. There could be a number of circumstances that will not allow you back in, and they will be aware of that. So we do appreciate your patience at times like that. DEM maintains the listing that you send in when you submit that form, and you can call us, and we can speak with the police officers on it. This is what we tell everyone. Our general message is have a plan, build a kit, stay informed. Those are the three things you need to remember. Having a plan means knowing what you will do and where you will go if there's an evacuation, who the contacts are. We always suggest a contact out of state. And these take place, these things are in place not just for hurricanes, but for fires, floods, other things that may displace people. Do you have, even in your own home, a meeting place outside? Is there a big tree down the block? And we say, if anything ever happens, we all meet at that big tree. So make plans for various impactful events. There's all sorts of suggestions all over the place for how to build a kit. We at www.miamibeachfl.gov, we also supply a suggested list of items, but only you know exactly what you will need and what's important to you. So plan for provisions, as I think Ryan mentioned, 3 to 5 days. It could take even longer for the power to come back on. So make sure that you are well provisioned. Also, as Ryan pointed out, stay informed with reliable sources. Something like NBC6 is a good place to get information on weather and weather alerts. There's much of the information that's out there is slop. So make sure that you know where you're getting it. If you get your main news from social media, follow the National Weather Service, the National Hurricane Center, the City of Miami Beach social media, the county social media. The county has their app that Sherry will talk about. Miami Beach also provides emergency updates via our text service. If you text MB Alert, MBALERT to 888-777, you will receive alerts and emergency updates. I'm just going to say a few things about FIFA on Miami Beach, the World Cup, where we are hosting a number of events. But first of all, Miami Beach has been a part of the planning with Miami-Dade County and the Miami Host Committee for the past 2 years. We've participated in countless meetings, trainings, exercises. We've worked on improving our response capabilities. As a matter of fact, if you hear some noise behind me, here in our EOC today, our fire department is training for what we call MCIs, multiple casualty incidents, to address things like concerts and large events and dealing with emergency care there. God forbid it shouldn't happen. But we're improving all of our response capabilities, and we're working to ensure that guests have a seamless experience. There's going to be a lot of people here from a lot of different countries, and we want to make it as safe for them as possible. These are a few of our toys. This is the new quick response vehicle that the mayor had shown in his video. We have high rescue water vehicles, all sorts of fun stuff to help with any sort of response and assistance. These are some of the events that we're having in Miami Beach. These are some of the events that we are sponsoring along with the host committee. The Copa del Sol, which is a tournament that's open to youth and local civic organizations, is taking place from June 5th to 7th. That's next week. We have a watch party and a big concert at Loomis Park on June 11th. That is free. People have to register for that. We have an art installation on the beach by Reef Line, and I forgot the name of the other group. I'm sorry. It's a giant soccer pitch with enormous goals, so everybody that is part of this interactive exhibit will meet their goals. We also have 2 watch parties in North Beach at our North Beach Sand Bowl for the Bronze Cup and the Gold Cup. All of this information and so much more is on the website, www.miamibeachfl.gov/World Cup. Your guests might be interested in seeking out the 48 footballs that are scattered throughout the city. They're hard to miss. They're 16 feet in diameter, inflated soccer balls representing the 48 country. There's plenty more about that here on this very comprehensive site with information about everything a visitor would want to know, including how to get around. And there's even a listing local businesses that are hosting their own watch parties. So if your property, if you are a restaurant that is showing a match and is having a watch party there, you can submit it to our site. And that is all the information I have for you today. I look forward to your questions. Again, you can call us at 673-7736 or email us at dem@miamibeachfl.gov. Thank you.
Thank you, Sherry. And by the way, I'm very impressed. You said football, so I think you've been practicing that. And whether you call it football or soccer, there is so much excitement that's going on. And as I shared earlier, for those that may have joined us a little bit later, we're going to be fortunate to be joined by a representative of the host committee, Ray Martinez. So in a few minutes, you'll be hearing from him some additional detail on some of the exciting things that are happening regarding World Cup and some of the preparations. But before then, we're going to switch from our dear City of Miami Beach partners to our Miami-Dade County partners. We're also fortunate to have Sherry Capers from the Miami-Dade County Emergency Management Department. So with that, Sherry, I know you two have a PowerPoint that you want to walk our audience through. Let us know if you're prepared to share. If not, Allie from our team, she has started sharing, and it sounds like you can just let her know when to click through.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. So much great information has already passed through for you guys. So that makes my responsibility a little bit easier. So here in Miami-Dade County, next slide. Here in Miami-Dade County, one of the things a lot of the things that we're responsible for is coordinating and helping the county residents and visitors be prepared, and businesses, for a myriad of things. Severe weather, as you can see from the little hurricane there, that's just a tiny little one. Wildfires, hazmat, because we have a chemical plant, a nuclear plant in our area, collapses, which we've had before. Next, yeah, okay. So our major role is we are a multi-coordinating entity, meaning that we have a lot of partner groups and we work to coordinate things. We serve as a central command and control facility where we have other municipalities, businesses, and or partner agencies that provide for the county come in, and decisions are made there. A lot of decisions are made here, actually. One of our major goals is making sure that we carry out our principal emergency management process of planning, response, recovery, mitigation, protection, prevention, all those good things, and making sure that the county as a whole has continuity of operations. Next. This is a picture of the many things that we deal with in the world of emergency management. As you can see, FIFA right there in the middle, because that's the one that we're working on, now. That's coming up like what, the 13th or something like that, the 15th. That picture of the of the United States on fire means extreme heat. So that's something else we also work with planning for when it comes to what goes on in the county. Next. So as Sherry from before me mentioned, it's great to know your zone. It's not just great, it's really important to know your storm planning zone because the storm surge is one of the reasons that a lot of people lose life and property. Next slide, please. I'll keep talking. It's one of the greatest threats to life and property. It's the primary reason that we ask residents to evacuate. And as mentioned earlier, when we ask for an evacuation, it's really, really important that you heed those, next slide, that you heed those orders because we're doing it to save people's lives. You can skip that one. That's just some of the, go to the next one, please. So some of the myths are that I've never had flooding in my neighborhood, as our meteorologist can tell you on the call. So I won't evacuate, but that's not true. It does flooding that just happen in one particular spot. We do have pools and pooling and ponding and all that kind of stuff, but your neighborhood can flood too. And also we hear a lot in emergency management and in the meteorologist world that people are like, oh, it's just a category storm. I'm not going anywhere. We hear that. I hear that throughout South Florida, period. But that's not true because it's the wind is not the only part of the story. I mean, things happen and you need to make sure that when we ask you guys to evacuate and evacuate your businesses, that you actually do that. Next slide, please. So for hotels, as Sherry started to say, one of the things that's important for us in the county is that you have a continuity of operations plan. You have something that says who's taking over if the boss is not there, who's doing what, who's making sure all the residents or hotel guests are evacuated, the logistics of where that location is, where they're going to be going, how they're going to get there. Those things are important. It's important that you know your generator capabilities or that the person running that facility knows that kind of stuff and what it's designed to do. Make sure it's gassed up. We've had incidents where people thought their generator was working. They never tested it. They needed it. They couldn't do anything with it. And this has even happened way, way, way in the past, even with the hospital. Not all hospitals, but one made a big mistake. So you want to know that. You don't want people in the dark. You want to know if you have lights to get them from wherever they're at on whichever floor down to where they need to be. Hot water, the HVAC system, those things are really important when you're dealing with guests, right? They're important to us as residents because no one wants to be hot, stuck, or scared, and especially in the dark. So you want to make sure that those things are working and you should be testing them now and you should have been testing them before, but it's never too late to start. The business interruption insurance, you want to make sure that you have that up to date. Those partners that that insurance company that you're working with is still around. I've heard where, people didn't really check too good and then they went to look for that particular partner and they were out of business. And any MOUs or agreements that you have with inland hotels or wherever you're going to be taking your residents. That's one of the important things. We do have a representative in our EOC for the Greater Miami visitors. I always get it messed up after 20-something years. It's right here on my slide. The Greater Miami Convention and Visitors Bureau. We have that person in our EOC for a purpose. So that they can help coordinate what happens with your visitors, with your customers, when an evacuation has to be called or when there is severe weather. That they are the ones who are working, letting us know, working with the airports, assisting you with the travel between you and them or wherever you're really going to be taking your residents to. And that's a very important and valued relationship that we have with the Greater Miami Convention and Visitors Bureau, because it helps us not have to worry about who's doing what. We have that one person, they communicate back and forth with us. Next slide. Please, please, please Do not evacuate your hotel residents into a shelter, into an evacuation center. That's not where they should go. You should be moving them sooner than later so that you can get them on the road. You don't want, like the next slide here, when we had one of our largest evacuations, which was Irma, all these people on the road. You'll never, you'll be taking a big risk. And I say that because of the next slide, when we call for evacuations and when we ask the zones to move, we do it because of the clearance times. How much time is it going to take us to evacuate a certain amount of people in one area? And it's important that that's timed and moving so that we don't have gridlock and people don't get hurt, lose their lives or anything like that to get out of here and leave. The next slide is just a slide of how many estimated residents we had to evacuate during Irma, which was our big hit. The next slide, and you can really skip that one too, because it just talks about the cost that was really costly us. More importantly, what we like to make sure that you know is that you check our webpage for weather information, evacuation information at miamidade.gov/hurricane. What's really important to us as well is on the next slide, and that's that you download and you have our mobile app, which is Ready Miami-Dade. In that app, it has where you can find your zone if you live in the county. It has the evacuation orders. It has the evacuation centers, and a lot of very good tips that we push out to the public on a regular basis. And it also has our Hurricane Guide app, which is important because we don't mail out the guides anymore. That's the next slide. Because of cost. But the guide, when you look at it, it contains these things here, a checklist, safety tips, pet safety. Those are things that you need to make sure, that you need to make sure that you're aware of. You as employees also need to make sure that your place is ready, your pets, whatever it is in check. You have your hurricane prep stuff, your water, your food, your safety plan, where your family is going to go. If your family is going to stay in county and move inland, if your family is going to go to another state, what does that communication plan look like? Hey, we have to evacuate the beach. So everybody, if you're looking for Johnny Jew, then just contact him in Georgia. He's at Aunt May's house, that kind of thing. And people forget about that. You should also make sure you have phone numbers and websites and social media information that you can check back to see the status of things as well as your family. And those things are in that guide, and that guide is in the app, the Miami-Dade Ready.Miami-Dade app. Next slide. It's just to talk about flooding, and I'm moving a little fast because I know we're running on time. Flooding is a major concern of ours. Our flooding season starts, from May 1st through October, and we have an official heat season as well. And you just have to be cognizant and careful and pay attention about everything that's going on, especially when it comes to flooding. A final thought, which is the next slide, which is important, is late developing storms can change. Next one. Oh, that's the extreme heat one. And just make people that you want to look out for, especially in your industry that are most at risk, are your outdoor workers, pregnant women, infants, and children. I don't know why they say people who are overweight, because I don't know if that's true or not. People who are 65 and older, you want to watch out for anybody who could really be prone to heat risk. People with illnesses that you don't even know about. Sometimes you have to look for it. The next slide, which is a final thought slide, is just to pay attention to the information and instructions from public safety personnel. Coastal cities are really at more risk, so you be cognizant of that continuously. Please, 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 again, follow the safety rules or the safety instructions that you get when you're told to evacuate. Do it without delay. One of the things that we get a lot in our office is, when is my power coming back on? So FPNL has a critical infrastructure list, which we keep, tier 1s and tier 2s, hospitals, public safety places like police and fire, water treatment plants, because you don't want stuff seeping over into your streets, right? And then tier 2, which are dialysis centers, ALFs, nursing homes, blood banks. Those kind of things are in those critical infrastructure categories. They're not the only ones, but if your hotel happens to be on one of those lines, hey, you'll have lights before everybody else, but they will get to you. And my last 2 slides was just a quick look at FIFA. Like I said briefly, we have 7 games here in Miami-Dade County. They run from the 15th of June to the 18th of July. But the gentleman after me will talk more about that. And then the next slide is just a slide of the wonderful FanFest activities that are going on from June 13th to the 5th. Things that the other person will talk a little bit more about, and that you obviously should be aware of, because that's going to create more traffic and things like that for your hotel guests, for you when you're coming back and forth to work. You know, it's going to be hot. Sometimes tensions are high. The alcohol is going to be flowing, so we just want to be careful. And this helps you be aware of what's going on and what's going on around you. And I think that's it.
Thank you, Sherry. Thank you so much. And perfect segue, because as I mentioned earlier, we're going to be joined momentarily by a representative of the host committee. We'll do a little bit of a deeper dive. But before we bring him onto the Zoom for him to share some comments, we'd like to get that excitement going a little bit more by showing you a kind of a slight quick preview of the Fan Fest. So let's go ahead and roll that video. So literally right across our window, we are seeing the construction of this amazing fan fest that will host hundreds of thousands of fans and lots of passion. So with that, let me introduce Ray Martinez. He's the Chief Operating Officer for the Miami Host Committee. And he's actually has a lot of great experience because he was a former chief of police for Miami Beach. So Ray, take it away.
Thank you, Rolando, and welcome everybody. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to, highlight. I hope that video gets everybody excited. The one thing I want to start out with is I don't have any tickets. So if you're looking for tickets, talk to Rolando, because I hear that he's the ticket master of the world. So no, just an all kidding. But obviously, something that I think our community's never experienced, is having a World Cup, right here in Miami. This World Cup is the largest World Cup ever. We have 48 countries that are participating. There'll be 104 matches in total across 16 cities and 3 countries. And Miami is one of those cities. As was mentioned, we have 7 matches here, including the bronze medal final match. And we also have the Colombia-Portugal match, which is the #1 match for ticket requests, including the gold medal match. So that gives you a little hint of the excitement for Colombia and Portugal that's going to be playing here. So we're really excited about that. I think the important thing to stress is, #1, we are producing a Fan Fest in Bayfront Park, for 23 days. It opens on June 13th and goes to July 5th. And, a lot of people that come into our community are not going to be able to attend the match in person, right? They don't have a ticket or unable to get a ticket to the match to go to, Hard Rock Stadium that's going to be renamed as Miami Stadium for the matches. So we want you to encourage your guests and, your staff and everybody, your family and yourselves to come to, Bayfront Park and enjoy, the Fan Fest. The intent of the Fan Fest is to broadcast the matches, and not just the matches that are taking place here in Miami, but all the matches across the 16 cities. So we've got a full slate of matches that we're going to be showing, as well as entertainment and local flavor, obviously highlighting the taste and smell and drink of Miami. So again, like I said, we're really excited about what we're putting together there in FanFest. One of the other things to understand is that even though we have 7 matches, the tournament period is 39 days long. So there will be people in our community, on non-match days looking to go to restaurants, to go to the clubs, to go to bars, to watch the matches that are taking place in other cities as well. And so, you need to be ready for that and plan for that. And then right in the middle of all this, right, is the July 4th, 250th celebration of the birth of our country. And, also at Bayfront Park, we're working in collaboration with the city of Miami and the Bayfront Park Trust to put on a 250 celebration on July 4th. So, we're expecting good things. It's going to be a full crowd, full house. But, it's going to end with a tremendous fireworks show right there on the bay. So we welcome everybody coming there. I'm not going to talk too much about hurricanes or preparedness because I think we've covered that very well. And, thanks to Sherry and Sherry. I can tell you one thing, though, is, and just to highlight, it is all about the plan, right? And planning for, being prepared. For those of us that are young enough to remember Hurricane Andrew that hit in South Dade here 34 years ago, the impact was tremendous to the South Dade community. And at the time, I was with the City of Miami Police Department. And even though the City of Miami was not, severely hit, our workforce was severely impacted because we had a number of our, law enforcement personnel and staff that lived in that area in South Dade, and their homes were devastated. We didn't even know, what their status was. We couldn't reach them. We couldn't obviously telephone communications was out. So that was really something that, we had not previously planned for, is obviously having to take care of our staff. So that's, make sure you include that in your planning and take care of your workers and take care of, the staff, because they're obviously what helps keep you, operating. And like I said, even though the storm may not hit us directly, it does have impacts on the staff. But, getting back to the World Cup, again, we're just so excited, getting ready to kick this thing off. And I think it's 12 days now. The first match opens up in Mexico on June 11th. We're going to be doing a concert, and we're going to actually be doing a watch party to show that match on Miami Beach. And then we'll be doing a free concert. Carlos Vivas, Colombian artist, is going to be performing for us on the beach. Again, it's free and open to the public. So a lot of exciting things taking place throughout the community, not only on Miami Beach, but throughout all of the, Miami-Dade County, and obviously culminating with the matches that are going to be held at Miami Stadium. So with that, thank you for the opportunity, and I'll turn it back over to you, Rolando.
Thank you, Ray. And as a reminder to the group, any questions, please put them in the chat as we're starting to close out the program. And just wanted to remind the audience, and thank you, Ray and Alina, who heads up the host committee. This is a process, believe it or not, that started back in 2017 when this bid was submitted. So it's been quite a lot of planning. I know things are heating up, but this has been in the works for quite some time. Tremendous effort. So, Ray, there is a quick follow-up question. It's not directly related to emergency management in the World Cup, but and maybe we can provide this offline. There is someone that's inquiring about the possibility and who's the best contact to potentially become a vendor for the Fan Fest. I know a lot of those arrangements may be in place, but if you want to drop that in the chat or
do.
a generic email, then that would be wonderful. The other thing that I dropped in the chat earlier is the GMCVB does maintain a page on all things weather. We shy away from calling them hurricanes, our tropical weather. As David mentioned early on, we are blessed by being this tropical paradise that comes along with some weather implications. So we do work closely with the city, the county. We have a page that that's always on, that we then update with any relevant specific information to any specific storm. Obviously, we provide the links to our city and county partners. We are also very involved at the EOC. Our point person and his email and telephone number is in the chat, is Richard Gibbs, that works closely with David and myself to make sure that we are communicating very quickly and clearly to all our partners. Quite often the inquiry is hotels open, close, how many rooms. So that's something that we leverage technology. We leverage our hotel partners to ensure that those inventories are made available. So I don't see any other questions, but I would defer to make sure I didn't miss anything. I'm taking a quick scan. I know our partners from the city and the county and Ray have been very, very thorough. Reminder, this presentation is being recorded, will be made available and sent out proactively as a follow-up to all the participants and to everyone that registered. I know we had about more than 70 folks joining us this morning. We had several others that were registered as well. So everyone will get that presentation. It will also be posted on that webpage link that is in the chat group as well. So not seeing any other specific questions for our panelists and our guests. David, I'm going to turn it back to you to close out the program.
Well, let me thank everyone for participating who's with us on the call. This recording will be available. Maybe you take it back to your hotel and share it with your staff, share it with your colleagues, use it to take notes and help prepare. I'll just share closing thought in that there's such a variety of things that can happen, right? It was mentioned several times. It's not just a hurricane. A tropical storm can create significant weather issues, including evacuations. And as Ryan said, it doesn't have to hit Miami to impact Miami. It could come in from the Gulf Coast. It could come up from the Keys. It could pass just to our north, and it still has serious implications. In all of my experience, what I know is there's those 3 or 4 days where we know the storm is coming. The great news about technology is that they're able to almost predict. And there's a bit, sometimes that's where we're not prepared because we take things for granted. Oh, it's going to miss us. And then look in Tampa. Just a couple of years ago, it was going to miss, or it was going to hit Tampa, and then all of a sudden it hit Fort Myers. And so you can't be complacent, and you can't not be prepared. I'll just mention, Rolando talked about our website. Our visitors are here. There are potential visitors who have reservations that are coming in a couple of days. Your phones will be ringing off the hook. Should we come? What do we do? We don't want to turn any guest away, but we also don't want to lead guests into a disastrous situation, or you not be prepared to welcome your guests. There are several major conventions this summer. In fact, it's one of our busiest convention years ever. And so I want to make sure you who have convention hotel blocks, and Curtis will be working with you on this, our sales team, we need to be making sure that those major conventions with tens of thousands of people who are calling 2 or 3 days before a weather event, what do you know? Is it coming? Is it not coming? Should we cancel? There's all kinds of issues with room blocks and force majeure, and we all just need to be prepared. But as well as what continues to be reemphasized here, everyone in your hotel plays a role. Everyone in your property, everyone in your organization, your store, your business. Make sure that they are prepared. Make sure that they're prepared to deal with themselves and also prepared to deal with our guests. We're here to help. The Hotel Association is here to help. The city and the county are here to help. So don't hesitate to raise your hand and ask for questions. And then heaven forbid, and hopefully, we're going to be okay this summer. And even if we're not, we're going to be prepared to deal with what we have to deal with. And we'll do that together. So I want to, again, thank everyone for participating. We'll get the links out and make sure you leave this call and go back to your property and go back to your manager or boss or general manager and say, do we have a plan? And I'd like to learn about it. So thank you, everyone. Have a great weekend. God bless each and every one of you.